Hey guys, welcome. It's Thursday. Thought we'd do some baking. And in the spirit of Zucchini week, we're gonna do some bread, right? I haven't made zucchini bread in years, and I mean years. My mom used to make it fairly regular, especially when zucchini was in season. But I don't think I've made it in the last 20 years, easily. I mean, it's so long ago I don't have a recipe for it, so I found one. I mean, they're all pretty much the same. This one's got a few variants to it, but all in all, I think it's going to be a solid recipe. And every recipe I found seemed to make 2 loaves, but that's all right, because this one, not only does it have butter, but it has brown butter, so we get to show you how to make a brown butter. And we get to learn how to squeeze zucchini out by hand after we shredded it. But all in all, it's going to be pretty awesome, I think. I love zucchini bread. It reminds me, you know, its texture, at least that I recall, is so similar to banana bread. You know, it's moist, it's flavorful, it's sweet, but not too sweet. It's just got a lot going for it, and I really like it, if memory serves me right. But anyhow, that being said, if you're new, first video, welcome. Hope you get something out of this video. Maybe check out some of my other ones. Even consider subscribing. If you're returning or one of our new subscribers, welcome back and thank you. Don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, share button. Or don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and then hit the subscribe button. Notification bell, that way you know when my videos come out. You don't have to watch them right away, obviously, but at least lets you know when they're there. Comments, always welcome. I respond to all of them so far, I believe, in some form or fashion. All I ask is that you be nice. You know, I don't have to necessarily agree with me or anybody in the comments, just think before you type. So, that being said, I will give you all your measurements in tablespoons, teaspoons, cups, along with grams and milliliters. That way everybody can play along no matter where you're at. That being said, why don't we get down here to the counter and we'll start the first step, which is going to be browning the butter. Alright, hold on for me just 1 second. Okay, we are down here at the stovetop, which is right next to the counter. And first thing we need to do is we need to melt this butter and we're going to brown it. So we're going to cook it until it starts to turn brown. And it doesn't take long. And I've got 1 stick, 114 grams, a half a cup of softened butter in here. It's room temperature, and all that does is just help it to melt quicker. And we're just going to take a whisk and we're going to melt it, and you're going to start to see brown bits on the bottom. That's okay, that you want that, but we're going to melt this until it turns brown. Okay, so our butter is brown. We'll go ahead and turn our stovetop off. I'll bring this over to you so hopefully you can see it. Maybe here, let's do this. I should have left the camera the way it was, but I didn't. So there we are. That's all right. We gotta come down to the counter next anyhow. But see how that's got a nice dark brown look to it. Now you'll see there's some brown bits there on the bottom of the pan. You want to go ahead and get those off and get it into that butter. That's what is making it brown and, you know, giving it its flavor, and it smells delightful. So we got our stovetop turned off. We're going to go ahead and set that off to the side and let it cool down a little bit. Next thing we need to do is move the mouse out of the way and straighten up the camera so you can actually kind of see what's going on here. There is that. And we're going to grab our zucchini. Now I have got 1.5 pounds of zucchini, which is 0.76 kilos of zucchini, and I shredded it. I ran it through and I'll have to show it to you sometime. We've got this cordless food processor, batteries are dead on, that I actually use my hand drill and connected to the processor to spin it to grade. It's absolutely amazing. I just figured out how to do it. But what we're going to want to do is take this zucchini and we're going to take it and we're just going to squeeze it, make sure we got all the juice out of it. That way we can we don't want all that extra moisture in there if at all possible. So we go ahead and get that taken care of. Okay, we got all our juice squeezed out of our zucchini, and it's okay if you don't get that much juice out. You just want to get as much as you can out, because that will, if not, it'll just take longer to bake. That's all. Because you want to get all, you want to get the moisture out of the cake, or out of the bread in this case. So we got as much as we could squeezed out of it, and that way we got less time we'll have to spend in the oven. So in this bowl here, in my large bowl, I've got 3.5 cups, 447 grams of just regular old all-purpose flour. And to this, I am going to add 2 teaspoons, 4 grams of ground cinnamon, a half a teaspoon, a half a gram of fresh ground nutmeg. If you're not using fresh ground nutmeg and you're using just the already ground from the store nutmeg, use a 1/4 teaspoon. You won't need as much, it's more potent. This has been grated versus ground with a grinding stone. I also have 2 teaspoons of kosher salt, a teaspoon and a 1/4 of baking soda, and a teaspoon and a 1/4 of baking powder. Both of those are 5 grams each. 5 grams each, 8 grams, 4 grams, and a half a gram. We're going to put that in with our flour, just like such. Right, and that's everything that needs to go in there. Yep. And we're going to go ahead and give this a good whisk together. And then we can set this off to the side. So then the next thing we need to do is take a medium bowl. Now I'm not using any hand mixers or anything like that. And to this medium bowl we are going to add, whoa, as soon as I grab the stuff right here from beside you, we are going to add 4 eggs. They're large eggs, that's 200 grams, and they are at room temperature. All our dairy and whatnot, everything's at room temperature, or in some cases heated. And we're just going to give those we're going to break those up real quick. And then to those we're going to add 180 milliliters, 3/4 cup of vegetable oil. You can use any flavorless oil, vegetable, canola. That's really all I can think of right offhand, because everything else has a flavor. Olive oil, canola, and all those have, well, canola doesn't, but peanut, things like that. You just want flavorless oil, so I'm using vegetable oil. Like I said, 3/4 cups, 180 milliliters. And then in this bowl right here, I have got 3/4 cup of light brown sugar at 165 grams, and 3/4 cup of regular old white granulated sugar at 150 grams. We're going to get those in there, and then we're just going to whisk these together until everything's combined, until it's smooth. Okay, we've got that nice and creamed. So now we're going to take our brown butter and we're going to go ahead and get it in there. And I'm going to stir this while I'm pouring it in, because I'm not sure how it will play well with the eggs, since it's still a little warm and I don't want those eggs to cook. So we're going to go ahead and get that in there like such and give it a good stir in. And then the last thing we have to put into our wet ingredients, this really does go quick, it's such I love dessert breads, they're always so easy, is our zucchini. We just got to put it in there and get it combined with our wet ingredients. Okay, so we got our zucchini mixed in with our wet ingredients. So we're looking like that, right? Now all we have left to do is turn our oven on 350 degrees, which we should have done that when we started doing our wet ingredients, and that's okay. At 350 degrees, do you guys see that? That was funny. We're going to make a well in the center of our dry ingredients, just like such. We're going to take our wet ingredients and the dry ingredients that got on the wet ingredients and pour them in the center. And then we're just going to mix this up until everything is wet. You know, not necessarily kind of like brownies or pancakes. yeah, you don't have to necessarily get it all smooth and even, but you definitely want to get everything touched by the wet ingredients in here. Okay, so we got our wet incorporated into our dry, but not over incorporating it so that way our eggs don't get crazy. Next thing I did was, I've got 2 bread pans. This actually makes 2 loaves, which you could easily half this recipe and only make 1. And what I did was I went ahead and buttered the inside, I floured it, and then I use this one because you can see it better, and then I stuck me a piece of parchment paper on the bottom. That will help ensure that our bread does not stick to the bottom. So I got my scale out. Now if you don't have a scale, I recommend you get one, but you don't have to have one. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and divide these between the 2 evenly. Okay, so we have got our batter into our pans evenly, and if you are using your scale, mine was right around 900 grams each. If you're not using your scale, just kind of use your best judgment and get them as close to even as possible. Let me go ahead and get these in the oven, and then we'll talk about how long to bake them for. Okay, so we've got our bread in the oven, and we are going to bake these for 50 to 60 minutes. What we'll be looking for to make sure they're done, there's a few things. They'll be golden brown on top, and if you tap them, they should be spongy. They should bounce back, right? Just like a cake would. They will have pulled away from the sides, and we should be able to stick a toothpick or a thin skewer in them in the center and pull it out, and you should have, just like a cake, a little bit of crumb but no batter. So I'm going to go ahead and get these baked, and then we can talk about what the next step is. Alright, see you here in a second. Okay, so we went 55 minutes. Well, actually this one went 55 minutes, this one went 60. Reason for that, it's taller, not as wide, different shaped bread pan, same volume, just different shape. And so it took an extra 5 minutes to get her done. It was still a little glistening on the top, but here is our end result. And all we want to do is take our toothpick, we'll put her down in there, get back so you can see, pull it out, and as you can see, nothing on it, or maybe you can't. You have to figure out a good way to show you guys the toothpick. But then we're going to just tap the top just like such, and see there's very little give, but it does bounce back. And then the last thing, if I can hold it without dropping it, I'm not even sure you can see it, but it's got a gap in between the pan and the bread where it's come away from it as it's cooling. So we're in good shape. So what do we need to do now? We're literally just going to let those sit inside the pans that they baked in until they've cooled down to room temperature. So about an hour, hour and a half, and after that we can take them out and try a piece. Alright, I will see you here in just 1 second. Okay, so our bread has cooled, and I'm just going to take an offset spatula just in case, because I mean, you never know, and it never hurts to just kind of run it along the edges real quick, just like such, before we remove our bread from the pan. Go ahead and get this one out. Boom, look at that. And all we have to do is take our parchment paper off the bottom and set that down there. And I don't know what we're going to do with the other one, but that's alright. Yeah, we'll get them both on there, what the heck. Run our offset spatula around this one, even though I can feel it's not touching like it's supposed to. Go ahead and pop this one out. Look at that. That's a good solid piece of bread right there. I think that is absolutely wonderful. It's still a little warm on the bottom, but they've been there for about an hour and a half, and they'll continue to cool, hands down. But there, my friends, is our finished product. I think they look absolutely delightful. Well, what you think? I know they smell good, especially right up here in my face, under my nose. So, but while they're still warm, let's cut us to pieces, see how they turned out. Now, I like in pieces. Do you like in pieces? I also like it when I can cut straight, which didn't happen in this case. But I mean, just look even on that end, which the ends traditionally are, sorry, the part that's going to dry out first, so to speak, because it's on the slope. Yeah, and that is still moist. So let's go ahead and take a bite of this and see how it turns out. That, my friends, tastes like heaven. I mean, wow. Now, if you've never had a zucchini bread before, you don't really taste the zucchini. But what you do taste in this case is that fresh nutmeg. You taste that cinnamon. You know, you can hint of the butter and the burnt, because we made brown butter. And and it's so moist and so tender. I don't even think you would need to put anything on this. A lot of times with dessert breads like this, you would put butter on it, or maybe a jam that would go with it. But I really don't think this needs a thing. You guys need to give this one a try. Quick, easy dessert bread that, in this case, this recipe makes enough that you have one for you and your family and any company that stops by, and you got one that you can give to somebody to make them feel good. Yeah, you got a friend that's kind of down in the dumps at the moment, you know, or somebody that's had a bad day in your life, give them one of these. They're gonna go, thank you. You know, and it's gonna make them feel loved and appreciated. I guarantee it. That is like love in every bite. Probably not healthy, but definitely love. I mean, you could say it's healthy because it has zucchini in it, right? You know, and zucchini's healthy. It's a squash. But definitely give this a try, hands down. You're not going to be disappointed. So next week, I don't really know what we're going to do for dinner or dessert. I have some ideas, but because I'm toying with the idea of doing a Reuben casserole, like in a tribute to the Reuben sandwich. And dessert-wise, I don't know. I was thinking about doing something involving an orange, and I'll tell you why next week if we do it. But it is something that I hold near and dear to my heart, and it is well worth it. But anyhow, other than that, I don't know for sure what we're gonna do. I am on the search for a good price for peaches, because I would really like to can up some peaches and for snacks like we did the oranges, and I would also like to make some peach pie filling. That would be good for peach pies. So we'll figure that out as we go here in the next week or two. But until next week for dinner, I love you. I love you very much, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Tell somebody else you love them and love them very much. They may need to hear it. It's going to make them feel good either way it goes. It's going to make you feel good to tell them, I guarantee it. And if you make some of this zucchini bread and give them a slice, maybe with a cup of coffee, you know, they're going to, you know, smile ear to ear. You're going to lead to all kinds of conversation. You know, and there's enough there that if you don't give them a whole one, you can invite half the neighborhood over for a slice and some coffee. What a fun time that would be, really. You know, you get to know everybody. You know, send some home with the mailman. He'll appreciate it, I guarantee it. So until next week, I love you, and I'll see you then. All right? See you later. Bye-bye.